Am I the antagonist for choosing a wedding date that my parents don't approve of? I, 29-year-old male, and my fiancé, 28-year-old female, are getting married next year. We've both always wanted a summer wedding, so we chose a date in that season. Everyone agreed to help in any way they could, including my stepmother, Ava, who insisted on assisting in finding a venue. We had a few site visits scheduled, but she usually came through for us, so I trusted her. But if I'm being honest, Ava and I haven't always had the best relationship because of how demanding, aggressive, and mean she can be. Regardless, I always tried to keep the peace, both as a child and even now as an adult. She's done a lot for me, so I didn't want to be ungrateful. When she did something wrong, my dad often told me that it was just how she is, but I never truly got used to her. My biological mom, while she couldn't do much for me financially, is the opposite of Ava. So it was hard to accept Ava because my own mom never stressed me out like that. A while back, my fiancé and I went back to our hometown. We usually stay with my parents or hers. While we were with my parents, I asked Ava how the venue was going. She aggressively asked if we changed the date yet. The date we chose is the day after her birthday, and she likes to travel during that time. I said no, and explained that it was the tentative date we had for now. She angrily stormed off. Not a surprise. It was always her way or the highway, but I felt like just this once, they would make an exception for my wedding. When she came back, she immediately started telling us how disrespectful we were for choosing that date and not changing it. Before I could speak, she screamed at us to get out of her house, using profanities. We felt humiliated, getting berated by her while packing. A few days later, my fiancé wrote a discreet Facebook post about the situation, sharing her thoughts from the experience. I didn't really want her sharing it on Facebook, but I felt guilty putting her through that. She was never comfortable around Ava and always expressed her discomfort, but I kept reassuring her that everything was okay. My mistake. She always tried to be chill but has always hated my family's dynamic of just sweeping Ava's behavior under the rug. I got a call from my dad shortly after because the post got attention. Even though he admits that she shouldn't have done that, since the house belongs to both of them, he still tried to get me to see it her way, as usual, and proceeded to make the situation about the Facebook post and how we never included them in the wedding plans. I politely let him know that there's no compromise here, and that we want an apology. I don't know. I've just put up with her for so long, and I felt like this was the last straw. We had no issue reconsidering the date. It was just her usual bullying approach that was unacceptable. My biological mom, my fiancé's mom, and other people who know about this share our sentiments. But at this point, we both want to just take all our money and elope, then travel, away from the drama. Am I the asshole? Not the antagonist. It is clear that your stepmother has a history of being demanding, aggressive, and mean, and it's understandable that you have reached your breaking point. It is not unreasonable for you and your fiancé to choose a date that works for you, especially considering that you're getting married the day after her birthday, which may impact her plans. Her reaction, screaming and berating you, was completely inappropriate and disrespectful. Your fiancé's Facebook post may have been a way for her to process her emotions and seek support, and while you may not have wanted her to share it, it is important to validate her feelings and experiences. It's also worth noting that you have been reassuring her that everything is okay, even though she has always felt uncomfortable around Ava and the family's dynamic of sweeping her behavior under the rug. Your father's attempt to see things from Ava's perspective and make the situation about the Facebook post instead of addressing her inappropriate behavior is dismissive and perpetuates the toxic dynamic. You have every right to expect an apology and to stand up for yourselves. Considering the ongoing drama and negative experiences, it's understandable that you both may feel inclined to elope and travel away from it all. It's important to prioritize your happiness and mental well-being. Am I the antagonist for not wanting any guests staying at our house for baby shower? The mortgage is in her name, but she put my name on the deed when our son was born. We were pretty much in agreement that it was her house. 4 years later, I keep our son on the weekends. 3 months ago, birth mother, BM, lost her job. She had me sign a piece of paper that said, handwritten, I no longer live at this address because she can't get public assistance unless she has proof we don't live together. My girlfriend, who works in child support, says that she's trying to put me on child support. BM had always said she'd never do that, but then my girlfriend showed me the statues and I ran this by BM. She said she withdrew the application when she found out. Weeks later, BM says she can't get mortgage assistance unless my name is off the deed. My girlfriend says that something seems off. I signed the documents anyway, but BM told me the signature wasn't valid, so we agreed to meet again to re-sign. The morning of, my girlfriend says, I just got an email that a letter addressed to you from Department of Social Services, DSS, is on its way. I text BM. She says she got a call about it and was going to tell me about it this evening and says it's probably just a notice, and that if she wanted me on it, she would have done it by now. My girlfriend says she's BSing and explicitly tells me not to sign the deed over. She says that I need to file for 50/50th custody. My girlfriend tells me to call DSS as soon as possible. My girlfriend texts me an hour later with a voice memo with a representative from Public Housing Assistance, saying I do not have to be off the deed for BM to get mortgage assistance. I call DSS back and find that BM deliberately went and submitted the child support application. My girlfriend tells me to stop all contact with BM and that this is now a legal issue. But none of this was consistent with what I knew about BM. I called BM and she admitted to everything, but said she didn't know about not having to have me off the deed. She said she is only using public assistance until next week, and then she is revoking the child support case. None of that explained why she had to have me off the deed, nor why she deliberately put in a child support application. I stated that because I don't need to be off the deed, I will wait to sign it over. She hit me with, "So now you're trying to withhold my own house from me?" And knowing her, if I pissed her off by not signing it, she would keep me on child support permanently. I eventually signed over the house. My girlfriend argued that I shouldn't give up the only asset that may help pay off the child support one day. I asked my family and coworkers and they disagreed, saying trusting her is my best option and that it'd be best to sign over the deed to keep the peace. My girlfriend said my BM controls me and that I am spineless and that I had no reason to give away the only asset I had. She even went all the way to say that she felt betrayed and that I chose to appease my BM over protecting our household finances. We have been fighting all weekend, but I genuinely felt like I did the morally right thing, as well as the only thing that'll make BM drop the child support case. Based on the information provided, it seems like you may not be the asshole in this situation. You were put in a difficult position where you had to make a decision about signing over the deed to the house in order to avoid a potential child support case. It appears that you were misled by BM, who initially assured you that she had withdrawn the child support application, but later admitted to submitting it deliberately. This suggests a lack of honesty and trustworthiness on her part. Your girlfriend, who works in child support, raised valid concerns about the situation and advised you not to sign over the deed. She believed that you should protect your financial interests and consider future implications. It is understandable that she may feel betrayed and frustrated by your decision to sign over the deed against her advice. Ultimately, the decision of whether to sign over the deed was a difficult one, and you had to weigh the potential consequences. While it may have seemed like the morally right thing to do at the time, considering the best interests of your child and maintaining a peaceful co-parenting relationship, it is also important to prioritize your own financial stability. However, it is recommended to seek legal advice in order to understand all your options and potential ramifications before making any further decisions. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to attend my sister's baby shower? I, a 16-year-old female, don't want to attend my 25-year-old sister Angela's baby shower. When I found out she was pregnant, I didn't have an opinion because I thought she would be moving out and I would have my own room. Unfortunately, she did not move out and has been planning her baby shower for mid-December, as she is due in January of next year. I was shocked because our home is already cramped with 5 people, including myself. I voiced my concerns to my mom because Angela and I have never gotten along. My mom suggested that we keep her kid in my room, which I find unfair as I would have to share a room with both Angela and her child. My room is fairly small and our 2 beds take up all the space. I am confused about where there is space and money for another child, especially since Angela is unemployed and relies on our parents for support. She sometimes uses her pregnancy as an excuse to avoid doing housework. Due to all of this, I am upset. My other sister, Ruby, who is 28 years old, was initially upset as well, but now she is helping plan the baby shower. I have made it clear that I do not wish to attend and have planned to have a get-together with some friends on that day instead. However, I have received backlash from my mom and Angela, who believe it's important for me to be there for Angela. My dad also does not support this pregnancy, but he is slowly helping out Angela. As for Ruby, she is neutral. She will attend the baby shower but understands why I cannot be there. So am I the asshole? It is understandable that you are upset and frustrated about the lack of space and the fact that you will have to share a room with your sister and her baby. It is also unfair for your sister to expect you to attend and be there for her when you have expressed your concerns and discomfort. It is important for your family to have open and honest conversations about the limitations in your home and how to accommodate everyone's needs. It seems like there are already tensions within the family regarding the situation, and it would be best if you all work towards finding a solution that is fair to everyone involved. That being said, it is also important to remember that the baby is not at fault for the circumstances. While you may not want to attend the baby shower, it is crucial to show empathy and support to your sister during her pregnancy. However, your feelings and concerns should still be acknowledged and taken into consideration. It might be helpful to have a family meeting or seek the guidance of a mediator to discuss compromises and potential solutions that work for everyone involved. Am I the antagonist for quitting on my thesis supervisor at the last possible minute, forcing him to lose his grant proposal? Up until recently, I was a master's student doing research under a tenured professor at the university where I completed my undergraduate studies. I've been working with him for the last 18 months. But our professional relationship deteriorated to the point where I left. My main grievances We had a design problem, and I came up with a solution that, although crude, solved the problem and had empirical data to support it. He criticized the solution, saying it was not at a graduate level, and that any undergraduate student could have come up with it. We encountered another design problem, and I suggested involving my second committee member, with my professor's approval, for assistance. However, my professor refused as he wanted to keep his research secret. It was not a government project. We remained stuck on this design problem for 2 months, during which he questioned my effort and asked why it was taking so long. I proposed a potential answer to a problem based on what I learned from my second committee member's class. He disregarded it and insisted on doing it his way. When we finally met with my second committee member, it became evident that my supervisor's way was not the optimal approach, and my math was correct. After a major breakthrough in our project, I emailed my professor to inform him. His response was dismissive, asking me to stop emailing him so much and to discuss it during our weekly meeting. However, upon reviewing my sent folder, I realized that I had only initiated an email chain 3 weeks prior, with all other emails being responses to his questions. At a certain point, I became so frustrated that I started sending out resumes. Eventually, I secured an interview and a job. I then notified the university of my decision to withdraw, which surprised my professor. Now, here's where I may be in the wrong. I am aware that my supervisor needs a graduate student to assist him in order to receive funding. By leaving in the middle of the term, he won't have the opportunity to bring in a new graduate student until the start of the next term, causing him to miss the December deadline and lose a portion of the grant money. I have refused to personally tutor him on how to use my software solutions. Instead, I provided him with a comprehensive README document. However, I know that he tends to overlook details and not read things carefully, so I anticipate that he will struggle and be set back even further. To summarize, my thesis supervisor has treated me disrespectfully and condescendingly in my opinion. I have been applying for jobs without his knowledge and recently secured one, resulting in my withdrawal from the program in the middle of the term. As a result, he won't be able to find a new graduate student, and will lose research funding since there won't be anyone working on the project. Am I the AH? Not the antagonist, not the a-hole. You and the owners of the bookstore did the right thing by supporting Kaysen's kind gesture. It's important to stand up against harmful language and behavior, especially when it comes to targeting autistic individuals. By refusing to apologize, you and the owners showed that you prioritize inclusivity and respect for others. It is crucial to support children like Kaysen, who are showing empathy and understanding towards their peers. The parents' reaction was unreasonable and inappropriate. Instead of addressing their son's ableist behavior, they chose to defend him and undermine Kaysen's efforts. They should be held accountable for their failure to address their son's language and behavior. Your coworkers who suggest that you should apologize are not considering the bigger picture of promoting acceptance and inclusivity. This situation goes beyond undermining authority. It's about advocating for the well-being and dignity of all individuals, especially those with autism. Overall, you and the owners should be commended for supporting Kaysen's empathy and taking a stand against ableism. Am I the antagonist for forcing my best friend to leave a Halloweekend party when her ex showed up in a couple's costume with the girl he denied cheating with? Good morning. I had a challenging Halloween weekend, and unfortunately it didn't go well. I believe I may have lost my best friend in the process. My best friend has long suspected her boyfriend, who she has been with for almost 8 years, of cheating on her. We are both 22 years old, and most of our friends thought she was overreacting because her boyfriend seemed like a great guy. So we always tried to calm her down and encourage her to trust him. We believed that his workload in a busy program at work was causing some strain, but things would eventually improve. She was devastated when he told her he had to fulfill duty as a new cop on Saturday night, and couldn't participate in their couple costume. On Saturday, I received a last-minute invitation to a party hosted by a coworker. I thought it would be good for my friend to go and take her mind off things, rather than endlessly scrolling through social media. We attended the party, which turned out to be enormous, and we didn't really know anyone there. Nevertheless, we had a great time dressed as last-minute Silju 77Y vampires. Around 1 a.m., her boyfriend suddenly appeared in the crowd. When I saw him wearing a red football jersey, my heart sank. Just a minute later, a girl dressed as Taylor Swift approached him and held his hand. My friend witnessed this and immediately ran to the bathroom sobbing. In the bathroom, she switched between desperately pleading with God that it wasn't real and becoming enraged. I tried to console her and suggested we leave. However, she insisted on confronting him. I asked if she planned on doing something that could land her in jail, and she responded seriously with a maybe. Realizing the severity of the situation, I insisted that we leave. She refused. I decided to find my coworker and ask for help to convince her to leave. Eventually, we managed to get her out of the party, causing quite a scene that caught her boyfriend's attention, prompting him to flee like a frightened rabbit. We arrived at my house, where she started drinking shots rapidly. Concerned for her safety, I took her keys and tried to get her to go to bed. However, she kept yelling about how everyone fucks me over, including you. Finally, she fell asleep, but woke up the next morning hungover and angry that I prevented her from finding out what was happening. I explained that we already knew he was cheating. In response, she called me a terrible friend for not believing her earlier. I apologized profusely, but she labeled me a major asshole for making her leave, as she believed she could have caught him in the act and ended things cleanly. I expressed that her behavior in the bathroom scared me, and she claimed she's an adult capable of making her own choices. She stated that it would take a long time for her to forgive me, and then left, seemingly blocking me on every form of communication. I feel guilty about the entire situation and worry that I made the wrong decision. Am I the asshole in this situation? In this situation, your primary concern was the safety and well-being of your best friend, and you made a reasonable decision to protect her. It's understandable that she feels angry and hurt right now, but it was not a responsible or safe choice for her to confront her cheating boyfriend while under emotional distress and potentially engage in actions that could have put her in legal trouble. You acted out of concern for her safety, and it was not your intention to make her leave solely because she caused a scene. The fact that you even sought help from your coworker to assist in getting her to leave shows that you were trying to handle the situation responsibly. It's important for your friend to take the time she needs to process her emotions, but once she's in a better frame of mind, she may come to realize that you were looking out for her best interests. It's unfortunate that this incident has strained your friendship, but given the circumstances, you made the right call. Would I be the antagonist if I get married in my friend's wedding dress? I'm a 29-year-old female who is getting married next May to my boyfriend of 11 years, who is also 29 years old. We got engaged after our child was born 5 years ago. Due to financial reasons and other circumstances, we ended up having a long engagement. I have been friends with Caitlin, a 31-year-old female, since we were in grade school. While we may not be best friends, our friendship has been long and full of joy, and it means a lot to me. I attended Caitlin's wedding to her college sweetheart when she had just graduated at the age of 23. Sadly, her husband was discovered with his co-worker in a bathroom stall during the reception. It was heartbreaking for her, and I was there to support her through the aftermath. However, she has since found happiness and remarried, now having 2 children of her own. One thing I have struggled with for years in planning my wedding is finding the right dress. I have poor body image, and my unusually large chest makes shopping for clothes a terrible experience. But last week I went thrift shopping and miraculously found the dress. It was everything I had dreamt of, and it fits me perfectly. I couldn't hold back the tears and fell to my knees in the dressing room. Excitedly, I sent a photo to everyone I could think of, including Caitlin. She called me right away. In the moment, I didn't notice, but when I got home, I realized I had missed calls and texts from Caitlin. It turns out the dress was her wedding dress from her previous marriage, and she had recently decided to let go of it. Considering the length of time that had passed, I genuinely didn't recognize it. Additionally, Caitlin doesn't flaunt her wedding photos, so it hadn't crossed my mind. When she mentioned it, I immediately remembered. It made sense, especially since we often bond over our shared struggle with breast size. I tried to brush it off, but she responded saying, "I'm sure they'll let you return it given the circumstances." It made me feel sick to my stomach because it was evident that she didn't want me to wear the dress, and I had already grown attached to it. For the rest of the evening, I withdrew from the conversation and discussed it with my fiancé and some other friends. Opinions are divided. Some understand how challenging this dress searching process has been for me and think Caitlin is being petty. Personally, I don't see it that way. I understand where she's coming from. However, I simply cannot keep searching for another dress. Furthermore, this dress only costs $30, and I would rather spend more on my 5-year-old child than on a wedding dress. Some argue that wearing Caitlin's dress is not only an ill omen, but also disrespectful towards her. In my opinion, Caitlin has moved on and built a family. If our situations were reversed, I would be genuinely happy for her. That being said, I do recognize that by wearing a dress that reminds her of one of the worst days of her life, I may unintentionally hurt a friend who I genuinely care about. I tried discussing it with Caitlin the following day, but she remains adamant about not attending my wedding if I wear the dress. She even mentioned that she is reconsidering our friendship altogether. I am devastated and don't think it's fair, to be honest. I would love to find a solution that allows me to keep the dress and preserve our friendship, which is why I am seeking advice here. Am I the one in the wrong here? What can I do? It's understandable that you fell in love with the dress and that you are attached to it, especially considering your struggles with body image and finding one that fits you well. While it's unfortunate that the dress holds negative memories for your friend, it's not fair or reasonable for her to dictate what you can and cannot wear on your wedding day. Your friend may still be harboring some unresolved feelings about her past marriage, which might explain her strong reaction. However, it's important to remember that this is your special day, and you should be able to wear the dress that makes you feel beautiful and confident. It might be worth having another conversation with Caitlin to express your understanding of her feelings while gently explaining your perspective and the significance of the dress for you. It's possible that she might be more open to finding a resolution if she understands how much this means to you. Ultimately, you should prioritize what will make you happy on your big day. If Caitlin can't support you and accept your decision, it might be important to reevaluate the friendship and determine if it's truly a healthy and supportive relationship. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, Make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.